The government should make us eat kale.
Mandating the consumption of specific foods violates individual liberty and the right to personal dietary autonomy.
Mandating kale consumption would significantly reduce national healthcare costs by addressing widespread nutritional deficiencies and preventing chronic diseases.
The economic benefits of improved health do not justify the government overstepping its role by infringing upon the fundamental right of citizens to make their own lifestyle and nutritional choices.
The government's responsibility to protect public welfare justifies dietary mandates when individual choices impose significant collective burdens on the taxpayer-funded healthcare system.
Granting the state power to regulate personal consumption sets a dangerous precedent for government overreach that threatens the basic principles of a free society.
Prioritizing public health through evidence-based nutritional mandates ensures a more resilient and sustainable society for all citizens.
A government-enforced diet undermines the diversity of cultural and personal values that are essential to a truly resilient and pluralistic society.
Universal health standards foster a more equitable society by ensuring that the foundational benefits of high-quality nutrition are accessible to every citizen regardless of socioeconomic background.
Ensuring equitable access to nutrition is better achieved through economic support and education rather than coercive mandates that remove the agency of the very citizens the policy intends to help.
Legislative mandates provide a more immediate and guaranteed improvement in public health outcomes than the slow, inconsistent results yielded by voluntary educational programs.
While legislative mandates may produce rapid results, they lack the long-term public buy-in and sustainability that come from voluntary behavioral changes rooted in education and informed consent.
Mandated dietary standards provide a stable, long-term framework for public health that remains effective regardless of shifting individual motivations or the influence of corporate marketing.
Entrenching dietary requirements into law ignores the reality that health standards often evolve with new scientific discovery, making rigid mandates a potential liability rather than a stable solution.
Establishing a legal mandate ensures that the public receives the most nutrient-dense foods currently known to science, providing a protective baseline of health that can be updated through legislative amendments as nutritional research advances.
Centralizing control over the food supply creates a single point of failure where incorrect scientific consensus or political lobbying can dictate the mandatory diets of an entire population.
Centralized regulation provides a necessary check against the influence of the commercial food industry by ensuring that dietary standards are based on objective public health data rather than corporate profit motives.
Relying on state mandates risks replacing corporate influence with political agendas that may not align with objective health data or individual biological needs.
A government-led mandate provides a uniform safety net that prioritizes collective biological resilience over the fragmented and often contradictory interests of the private market.
Prioritizing collective resilience through force creates a dynamic where the state assumes total ownership over the human body, effectively ending the concept of bodily integrity.
The state's authority to mandate health-promoting behaviors is a necessary extension of its duty to preserve the life and longevity of the population it serves.
The state fulfills its duty to preserve life more effectively by protecting the civil liberties that allow individuals to manage their own health and well-being without government compulsion.
A mandate ensures that the duty to preserve life is met through guaranteed nutritional outcomes that protect the most vulnerable members of society from the consequences of systemic health crises.
Mandating specific nutritional outcomes through force replaces the state's duty to protect its citizens with a system of control that ignores the essential moral value of personal responsibility.
The legal enforcement of healthy eating habits ensures that the state fulfills its obligation to maintain a productive and healthy populace, which is a prerequisite for a functioning and prosperous society.
A prosperous society is best maintained by a government that respects the maturity and intellect of its citizens to make their own choices, rather than treating them as instruments of state productivity.
A government mandate prioritizes the collective survival and efficiency of the nation by ensuring all citizens maintain the physical health necessary to sustain a stable and functional economy.
Treating citizens as mere components of economic efficiency ignores the inherent dignity of the individual and subordinates human rights to the utilitarian goals of the state.
Focusing on the collective health of the population through nutritional mandates ensures that the state can provide the high level of public service and infrastructure required to uphold the dignity and rights of every individual.
The pursuit of collective health through coercion paradoxically undermines the very dignity and rights the state claims to uphold by stripping individuals of their most basic power of self-determination.
Maintaining the health of the population through mandate provides the essential physical foundation that allows individuals to actually exercise their rights and participate in society.
Rights are meaningless if the government removes the fundamental right to bodily autonomy under the guise of enabling other liberties.
The state's mandate of health-preserving behaviors ensures that the biological prerequisites for life and liberty are maintained for the entire population.
The preservation of biological prerequisites is a hollow victory if the cost is the loss of the very liberty the state claims to be protecting.
The state's intervention ensures that citizens are not only free in principle, but also physically capable of exercising that freedom through a body sustained by optimal nutrition.
True freedom is defined by the ability to make choices, including the choice to refuse optimal nutrition, without the threat of state-imposed sanctions.
The state's authority to mandate nutritional standards ensures that the foundational health of the populace is secured against the high societal costs of individual choices that lead to preventable illness.
The state's authority should be limited to providing the infrastructure for health, as allowing the government to penalize personal choices based on societal costs creates a system where no private behavior is immune from state control.
The state's power to enforce nutritional standards ensures that the collective resources of the nation are not drained by the avoidable health crises of individuals, thereby securing the long-term viability of the social contract.
Social contracts are built on the protection of individual sovereignty, and when the state begins to treat the citizen's body as a collective resource to be managed for fiscal efficiency, it violates the most fundamental agreement of all, that the individual is not property of the state.